July weekend and got to have some fun along with some relaxation and rest, hopefully, from the daily grind. Um, it was gorgeous weather here. Not everybody would be in agreement, I'm sure. It was, for the first time ever, was watching fireworks here in a hoodie and long pants. It was really nice to do that instead of sweltering and feeling like you were going to just die of heat stroke for a change. Pretty enjoyable night. You didn't have the bugs irritating and annoying. Hope everybody is recouped and you are all well. About, what was it, about 3 weeks ago or so, ironically, I had come across that article about the Ouija board, and we discussed the article during the show and discussed Ouija boards and things like that. And then each week, last week with the 4th, I wasn't here, but the week before, I ended up having an interesting Ouija board that I shared with you. And leading into this week, yesterday, I got a really neat thing that I figured I'd continue the Ouija thing with to start out. It is a really big, large backpack. Trying to hold it back enough so you can see it. That's how large it is. The Ouija board's on the front of it. It's a really nice size. They even have the tags. There's 2 tags hanging from it, and the one is the pan-shape tag. So that was really neat. It was seen, and I was thought of right away, so it was grabbed, which leads me into just discussing today different things that was gotten. I collect a few different things, but it has to be really, really unique and unusual, and that is unique and unusual. Be able to use it for when I'm going out, with maybe paranormal investigating things in it, to carry around. It's on the back, so I won't have, tons of camera bags and things with me. I can even use it when I'm going to be set up, someplace doing readings and traveling. So that's a really neat thing. And I have, yes, I can talk to the devil with it. Which, since we're going to be talking about some unusual things, I went through some of my other things. Sticking with the Ouija board topic, just for the time being, this I found online. It was going around on Facebook, maybe in last fall or so. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. It's a ring, and inside is the Ouija board, inside the protective glass. And then they also had necklaces. So these 2 things I've had, very unique, so I had to grab them. And the back of the necklace is even, you probably can't see it good because it's small. Let me see. There's writing on it. It might be the name of the creator that made it. I can't make it out. And then like a varied looking type drawing next to it with wings, pink and purple. She's in. Um, I don't go overboard anymore. I used to collect unicorns, which are overloaded in my china cabinet. I don't know where the change from that happened. I guess it was about 10 years ago, plus the unicorns that I have, the majority of them are so big, they take up so much room. And they're fragile and very breakable. I'm in the middle of wanting to sell some of that collection, but about 7, 8 years ago or so, I started changing. I still love unicorns, but I started with fairies. Has to be very unique. With the unicorns, you don't. Did the changing collecting come from the? Probably did. Probably did. Came from doing the readings and the paranormal investigating professionally and things like that. That's a good point, because looking back at the time frame, it falls into that same time frame. The unicorns are mythical too, as well as the fairies. But the fairies, they have more personality. They have all different dressing that they're wearing, different colors, the facial expressions. Unicorns, well, the only thing you can change is, are they sitting, standing, laying down, mom with a baby, maybe the colored flowers or ribbons and the decorations on them, but a unicorn's a unicorn. And I got into those back in my teens with the unicorns, and it was an easy, okay, we know what, everybody knew what to get me for a birthday or a Christmas gift. So that's how that accumulation of the collection started. With the fairies, they're also smaller and they take up less room than the unicorns. I meant to, but I didn't grab any of the fairy things that I have with me. But yes, it did change as I was, getting more professionally into doing readings instead of just messing around with friends and things like that. Very good point. Why fairies? I don't know why. I don't know. They were fascinating. Actually, there was an incident that had occurred where a photo was taken while I was away. It was a building across the street, the hotel. I kept seeing faces on the wall. A couple people saw them besides me. Other people didn't see them. So I went and got my camera thinking maybe those that couldn't see it would see them in the camera picture if it showed up. I paid no attention to the lights looking things, really, when I got it, because there were parked cars. I was in front of my hotel room. And in front of me was the fenced-in swimming pool, and it was the parking lot with the cars parked directly in front of me, and big colored lights. And it was nighttime, so they were lit. When I developed the pictures, I was still able to see and put them up on the computer. I was still able to see the 3 faces on the hotel wall across the street. And then in between the parked cars was scattered lights. I didn't bother zooming in on them. I just, it's metal from the bumpers, car mirrors, the windows, and I knew the lights were there. It's light reflection. I sent the picture over to somebody that hadn't seen the faces on the wall when we were there to see if they saw them in the photo. And they got me on the phone right away, and they're like, did you see what else you have in the picture? What are you talking about? The things that look like lights. I said, it's flashes of the lights from, I know the setup of the hotel. I know where lights were lit and the street lights. I said, no, I didn't look at them. Coincidental, possibly. But she said, get it up, get it on the computer and zoom in on the lights. And I had about 5 or 6 pictures I took back to back. 3 in a specific spot and then moved over. And in the order that the pictures were taken, it's really a weird coincidence that the lights would give off a reflection like this, but you saw a group, picture a flock of birds in the sky when they make the V, the geese when they're flying. That was basically what these lights were doing, and they were starting up by the hotel office where I was staying. They were higher up, and they came down on a curve and then went straight. They were symmetrical, pretty much. Different colors, that was expected because of the different color lights. I go to the next picture. It was literally looking like they all stopped, and you could see the shape of a head turning, looking my direction at me. Still symmetrical. And you could see what looks like the way it flashed off, whatever the explanation is, looks like wings, the body, and the head. And then in the next one, instead of being this way, where they look like fairies flying, some of them are upright. They are all of a sudden on the railing of the fence for the closed-in pool. That's what ended up with my real strong fascination. I was like, what the heck is going on here with these lights showing up in multiple pictures like this? So then I started really looking into fairies, because you think of fairies, you think of, gardens, you think of flowers, trees, shrubs. And one of the things that I had come across, I forget which nationality, but the belief with it is that fairies are the protectors of widows. So let's make this story more interesting. That February or March, the hotel manager at the hotel that I stayed at, that I was very good friends with, her husband, that past February, had died. The positioning of these lights showing up in the photo, looking like a bunch of little fairies, what started at the entrance of the hotel at the steps and worked its way across the front gate. I sent it to where it made her, feel better. I'll have to send you a couple of the pictures, Eric, have you look at them. It's, it's amazing. The way the light from the flashes, whatever, came off in the photos the way they did, looking like this. And so symmetrical with the different positions that they're in. And at one point, the one that looks like an arm looks like up waving, like at the last one I took, where the lead one making like it wasn't really a V shape, but it was a crowd, and there was one flash at the tip making like the point had looked like a hand up going hi or goodbye. Pretty neat. Have no idea. I've been trying to figure those pictures out for a while, and how the positions of the cars and the layouts of the lights in the hotel formed that. There was a few other things spotted in the pictures too. I think that's what really, really started the fascination, though, with the fairies. That really got me into it. Off of the fairies, I said every now and then I come across, or friends or relatives come across really unique things. You all know, I guess, Maxine from, what is it, Cards, is it? She's also a fortune teller. My mother saw this and had to get it. You push her crystal ball.
You again? Come back when my mood swings.
She makes some one-liner.
Do you really want me to answer that? Boy, are you a glutton for punishment.
One-liner wisecracks regarding answers to the fortune telling.
Oh, yes. Oh, I see much to be happy about. Oh, whoops, that wasn't your future I was looking at.
Some of the things are pretty funny. You sit there and think, really would love to say that sometimes.
Oh, I can see in my wrist. Oh, it's coming in. Oh, it's saying. Oh, what is yes, it's yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the tag. The Hallmark put it out. Maxine.com. I don't know if they're still around or not. But if you collect neats, this is pretty neat, and I like having her sitting there. There's an on-off switch on the bottom, and she takes one AA battery, I believe it is. But that's pretty neat. I was like Maxine. Brought a little bit of a variety of stuff for the show tonight, just to share. I get unique jewelry, even though I don't wear it as often as I should. And this is a pin. It caught my eye. The key, the answers, and it's all in the cards. This just has a pin on the back. I was able to get a trace of a pin. They also had them, different style-shaped keys for necklaces to hang as a charm, but I thought that the pin, I liked this particular style, a Victorian look to it. Mentioned a couple weeks ago, we were discussing some stones, and we were discussing that a little bit. This is my favorite, I have to say it is my favorite necklace, that I get a lot of use out of, that I mainly get a use out of in the fall, because it's the brown earth tones. Big tiger's eye. It was handmade with these are, the little ones are also tiger eyes in it to match the big one. And then I'm not sure what the little ones are. They're like, maybe their mother are pearly looking, but they're brown splotches in it instead of the rainbowy colors that you see in the mother of pearl. And it does not state it on the packages. I don't know what those are. Looking at the tag from it too, not sure. But they're like a cream color, not white. I don't know if you can see, Eric, any idea what stones they are. They are a cream and really, really pale tan lines in through.
I mean, the bigger ones look like they're tiger's eyes, but the smaller round ones, I couldn't tell you. Without holding them in my hand, I couldn't tell you.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what they are. But that's my favorite necklace. But I wear that one in the fall and the winter with winter colors, winter tones. You have any collections, Eric, that you do?
No, not really, other than EVPs.
And they take up computer space or disk space, but not like the unicorns and the fairies and things do.
Yeah, I've
Or
never
the
been.
magazines.
I've never been much of a collector. That's just
Yeah.
not. It's just not. It's just not me.
Yeah, I realized, as we go through cycles and changes, and looking back, I've gone through a lot of different collections. And when I was a kid, I was into baseball. So I did the baseball cards and the baseball memorabilia. Still have it all packed away in boxes. And every few years, I guess, the baseball collection thing lasted about 10 years. That's probably the average. My interest goes, and then I go on to something else. But I realized that in a lot of cases, looking back, and a lot of people that I know that have accumulated things and done collections and multiple collections, it was done when trying to fill other needs. You know what I'm saying? Like some people, they go shopping. Oh, they're getting depressed or down or whatever, and so they go out shopping, whether it's for clothes or shoes or...
And Misha, you also have to remember that there's a fine line between collecting and hoarding.
Right. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. I went through the baseball stage, which I guess is about 2 boxes. Well, so not that much, but I have a whole bookcase of baseball cards. But I was pretty good. I stuck to, for the most part, with the baseball cards, tops only. Because that was, back then the bubble gum, that hard, yucky bubble gum. Can't believe we enjoyed it. The packets were in the bubble gum. I was buying those. So I basically stuck with the tops. There was Don Ross. There's all kinds. Then it went in, stopped, and went into the unicorns and the fairies and the mystical things. The rare items like the backpack, the Ouija necklace and ring. I don't go, all out anymore. It has to be very, very unique and different. And I think that was part too why the unicorn stopped, because with unicorn figurines, how many of them can you have? They are different colors. Some are standing, some are sitting, whatever. But there's not much variety. And you only have so much space. Now it's ending up, I guess, tarot cards. With the collecting that I've been accumulating. And that's not intentional either. When I buy them, it has to be really, really unique. But getting back to also the stones and the crystals and things, because we had started that discussion a couple weeks ago when you had asked about any crystal decks out there. And I pulled one out. I bought this, not looking anything up, but it's called the Crystal Visions Tarot. and it's put up by U.S. Games, and it's done by Jennifer Galasso. I was out. This happened to be in the store I was in. I was just starting to get involved in the crystals and things, and I was like, oh, a crystal deck. Let me grab it. I didn't look anything up on it. So I came home, opened it up, started going through it, and I haven't touched it actually until it came up on the show 2 weeks ago with you, Eric, because I opened it up and I was disappointed because I was expecting, different crystals to be in it and for it to be an actual crystal deck of some sort, and it wasn't. So I got discouraged with it, and I was just so disappointed that it wasn't what I anticipated it to be. I put it aside and didn't touch it. So it was sitting around for a good, 4 or 5 years, not being looked at. But now that I have it out, I'm really enjoying the deck. Now that, not looking at it with any preconceived notions. What it basically is crystal balls are shown in a lot of the pictures. The backs in the center. The colors in them are pretty pastel-y watercolors, not a Guy card deck. The crystals are in some of the cards hidden. You have to really look for them. They're found, the majority of them, in the court cards, sticking up out of the ground, but it's just the clear crystals. There's no specific crystal used in relation to the deck meanings. They're sticking out of the ground, out of the trees. This is the Ten of Pentacles, hidden. You have to, really look for it, but there's 2 small ones back there, so it was not a crystal deck that I pulled out, with what I thought it was going to be. Now, with the pentacles, in the center of the pentacles, they do have, but there's nothing uniformed with them. They have, for the center of the pentacle, a colored stone in the center. But they're not any kind of uniform. They mostly just use, from what I saw, red and green as the center of the pentacle. No other colors. This one, in the King of Wands in front of the lion, looks more like a bubble, but it's supposed to be, the crystal ball. So it was not what I had thought it would be. Between you and Kim, maybe you should come up with a tarot deck.
Yeah, we probably could.
You can come up with the designs of it and put your heads together with the different meanings and things with the different stones and crystals. It's actually a great idea. I do, like I said, the deck is, more attractive to me. It is a female deck. There's the coloring. They do put men in it, not many. All the colorings are pastels. They don't even have, it's a lot of purple and pinks in it, so I can't even say that the majors are all shades of pink, because the Magician is orange. The Empress is a lot of blue for the sky. The Emperor's orange. The Lover's is purples and pinks. So there's, I have some decks that they synchronize the colors. They've made, like all the cups, the background blue for water, for the ones, the fire orange and reds. That has not really, for the most part, been done, not that obvious. The cups going through them, it's, at first I was going to say, okay, they made them more of the pink, purpley color for all the cups. But then, you hit the swords, and the Queen of Swords is the pink and purple again, more female, I guess. The Knight of Swords, the blues. So you think, okay, male and female, but the Page of Swords, female, and it's like a combination purple, blue, and pink in it. And then the Ten of Swords is a lot of blue. The Nine of Swords is back to the pink and purple. So color in the background, for the most part, to use any kind of crystal reference really wasn't. For the pentacles, it is trees and earth things, because pentacles is the earth element. So color-wise, again, different colors. There's a lot of the orange yellow in them, but there's the cards with the pinks in them too. But the thing that's common with these is the tree, and they're on the ground or sitting in the tree, where the other ones up in the air, in water, things like that. The Knight of Swords is on a Pegasus. He was sitting on a Pegasus up in the air with the birds. So no, not really a crystal deck. And like I said, I was anticipating that, so when I got it, I opened it, and I was like, what the heck is this? And I was annoyed and just put it down, paged through it, trying to, okay, where is it? And it wasn't. But this is a very pretty, if you like the pastel look, the Victorian look on the back. Reversible, so that you can't tell the difference. So don't think that the Crystal Visions Tarot deck is going to be based on the things that Eric and I were discussing a couple weeks ago on that show, because it really is not. But what is interesting with this deck is how she came up with its name. And it's right in the beginning of the Little White Book, in the introduction. The name Crystal Visions Tarot was inspired by singer-songwriter Stevie Nicks' CD, Crystal Visions, which was released right around the time that Jennifer was planning the deck. Upon having heard the title of the CD, it resonated with her as a possible title for her deck. So that's how she came up and named her deck when she was creating it. So she stuck with the Crystal Visions from Stevie Nicks. So perfect example. Don't judge a book, or in this case a deck, by its title or cover. Because it may not be what you think it actually is. You only use the Raider Waite, you had said, right, Eric?
Yeah, I was just very recently gifted the Thoth deck, and I haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time with it or use it in a reading. I use the Rider Waite when I do readings. but I'm sure I'll use the Thoth deck because it's really kind of spoke to me. So in time, I'm sure I'll use it.
Did you were you able to see the couple decks I sent down to you?
Yes,
Or,
yes, I did. And the only other than the Thoth deck, the only other deck that I've really seen in the last couple of years that intrigued me at all, and I think it's Eric Dunn.
yeah,
With the Tarot, was it the Tarot Illuminati deck?
right.
Yeah, that's the only other deck that's really I've had any kind of interest in.
Yeah, that the images on that really are amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't have the deck myself.
But the Thoth deck is that's an entirely different type of divination too. That's it's not Rider Waite in how it works or its imagery at all.
Right. Right. And that's the appeal too, I think. Along with the imagery that he did with it. And it's really, really breathtaking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the deck was channeled. I mean, there's a whole history to it that people could go research. It does have to do with Aleister Crowley, so people can sometimes get, like you said, don't judge it by its cover.
Right.
It's not Rider Waite in its imagery. It doesn't work quite that way, and some people get turned off by that. And that's okay, because not every deck is... See, that's one thing that I think a lot of people get confused on. They think in tarot that every deck is supposed to work for every person, and it's just not that way.
Right. Right. I mean, I've heard, people getting a hold of me on Facebook, emails, whatever. Hey, I wanted to get into this. I thought it was really neat. I can't read it's not doing nothing. What is going on? What's the matter with me? Get a different deck. And then people that haven't done it, and they have interest in it, but they haven't attempted to read for themselves, don't get what we mean when we say you can't necessarily read with every person's not going to be able to read with every single deck. You just go blank. It does absolutely nothing for you. And people that don't do it are just, what do you mean by that? How can you not read with any deck given to you? It's hard to explain things like that to somebody that hasn't done it firsthand for themselves.
That's true. And sometimes you're not meant to explain it to it because they have to figure it out for themselves. So
right.
And then some people are just buttholes too. So let's just throw that out there too. Some people are just that way.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there's a lot of that, unfortunately.
Well, they just get very judgmental. And like you said, they want to know why, if you're so connected, why doesn't every deck work for you, blah, blah, blah. What are you not as connected as you claim to be, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the list just goes on and on.
Right.
But if they were so connected, they wouldn't be sitting at a tarot, they wouldn't be sitting in front of you wanting a reading if they were all that connected.
Right, exactly. And the beliefs I've been running into, as open as people are becoming to the whole holistic thing and the stones and yoga and meditation and, all of that, I have been running into an awful lot of people just in conversation. I ran into somebody last night actually in a store, and all into the metaphysical and talking about a metaphysical shop that he's aware of, that he goes to, and it came up, I do readings, and out of his mouth after I said that was, oh, I've never done that, I'm petrified of it.
Yeah.
So that's still, as much as I hear that, especially coming from somebody going on and on how they're into the different stones and can tell you all about the stones and what they can do, and even candle meditation, candles, and all of that stuff. To hear somebody, oh no, I'm petrified of having that done.
Well, the same thing applies in the paranormal. The same thing applies in the paranormal community, Misha. I mean, you're going to have people that go, "Well, sure, ghosts are real, but all that Bigfoot bull crap, well, there's no way that could possibly be real." Or the crazy UFO people. I mean, you run across that, and how can you be so open-minded and yet so closed-minded?
Right. Yeah, it's amazing. I just shake my head and I get taken aback hearing it. But it's surprising how many people, they just have their beliefs of what's possible and what's not. And close-minded on a lot of things, too. Something came up, speaking of, I don't think it was Bigfoot, something did come up on Bigfoot last week, but I'm not going to remember that one for the life of me. But something had come up. I'm trying to find it. I thought I bookmarked it. With that same topic. People not believe in certain things, but then other things are, not out. Oh, here it is. Okay. A time capsule was believed to be found. Did you see that one, Eric? It was on Facebook.
I didn't see
that. Posted it on. It came out on July. No, that's today's date, July the 9th. Monday or something. It came out. At a high school, they found what they're believing was a possible time capsule at Enfield, Enfield High School. You can Google it. They have a picture of what just looks like thinned out material or paper, torn on what looks like a blob of a cement, human-size rectangle brick thing. And it happened over the holiday weekend. It's an 8-foot piece of concrete. It was found outside the Enfield High School on Thursday. Construction workers were cutting down trees because they're renovating the school. So on Tuesday, they unearthed a concrete block that was 8 feet long. They're speculating that it's a time capsule that dates back to the 1800s. And they're saying that the evidence is because it has writing etched in the concrete that, from what they've looked at, they believe it says 1843-1943, and under it says do not open until 2043. There's some disagreements with people that have looked at it trying to figure out what it is on what the exact date is with reading the numbers, and I guess, corrosion, deteriorating, whatever. So they're debating, do they open the thing up, or do they honor the do not open until 2043 and just, keep it secure? They don't know what they're going to be doing with it, but in the meantime, while this is being decided, I don't know who decides it, they gave it to the police for safekeeping until officials have to go through steps to, I guess, bring experts in and further look at it. They think that, somebody had made a joke that, they think it's finders keepers. We found it, so open it, mark down in history, make it known what it is, and, mark on it that they opened it and remark it. Do not reopen until 2043 to honor the original date. They're debating whether or not to X-ray it and try to scan it that way. And then somebody else said, yeah, open it and write on it, opened in 2014, don't open again until 2143 to have it extend, 100 years later than the original date. There's only there's only photos of it in the plow thing when they pulled it out, and the top of it they have the picture of engraving, but it's not at all clear in the photos what it says in them. They only have like 8 or 9 photos up of it. Interesting, nevertheless. And who knows? There's all different kinds of opinions. Open it, see what it actually is. Nothing stated in the article what's making them, think it's a time capsule and not just like a piece of cement. And, somebody maybe 10 years ago or 50 years ago wanted to play a joke and decided to do that. Why? I don't know if it's the dates on it. They're assuming it's a time capsule. I don't know if there's further information about anything that they noticed on it that they're not revealing. I might want to look that up, Eric. That's a chit-chat piece.
Yeah, the time capsules usually are.
Uh-huh, yes. And, that's along the lines of, people don't believe that exists. But, maybe they'll believe in Bigfoot or UFOs, but there's no such thing as time capsules. Have you been out on Bigfoot investigations personally, or haven't you?
Never had a chance to go Bigfoot hunting yet.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no, but our Bigfoot investigation turned into a paranormal investigation, and then it turned into frostbite.
Oh God! Did it really?
Well, we were all gung ho about going, and it was 70 degrees that afternoon. And in Missouri, that time of year was an awesome day. We didn't read the forecast for that evening. It was going to drop into the low 20s. So when you're out there in a tank top and jeans, yeah, you tend to get a little chilly.
Oh shit! Yeah, not good.
But when I first came, in Missouri, Bigfoot's called Momo.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's short for the Missouri Monster.
Okay. Did you get anything good with the paranormal investigating?
We actually got an EVP sitting in the van trying to get feeling back in our extremities, but other than that was about the only thing. Yeah. We were out in a very rural setting. There were some old frames from houses and stuff that were there. There was stuff there. It's just, it wasn't very talkative.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty neat when you go out with somebody that's new to it for the first time. I did one last week, actually. Gina had gone along, and then a friend of hers came along, and Gina's been on a few with me, and the friend of hers never was. She joined us when I was in the middle of doing a ghost box session. I was asked, I was in the, Gina's name had come through the ghost box, actually. And at that moment, since her friend came along, I had happened to ask, can you tell us the name of the person that joined us? And sure enough, her name was Settle the Ghost. So that was her very first intro to the ghost hunting that she did. Her name came through within less than 5 minutes of her joining us. So it's always neat watching the newbies come along that are into it, have, maybe seen things on television, but then they're doing it with you for the first time, and their reactions and how fascinated that they get.
Yeah, when it calls out your name, it makes it very personal.
It does. It sure does. And that, like I said, that was her very first intro. It said her name. I thought maybe it would say Gina again, but no, it introduced her initiation right there from the beginning, calling out her name. It was just, what? So I asked it again and, verified it, and it said it again. So she was really, really fascinated by that. She'd heard, about the ghost box and things like that. And it's things like that, there's debunking with everything. We've discussed that with the ghost box, and people say, well, it scans the radio. You're gonna have the odds that something you ask, an answer is going to be said by one of the announcers. Not like that. Not with something like that, and not when you're double checking and triple checking, trying, to get confirmation with what you heard, or sometimes it doesn't come through clearly. The debunking with that stuff cracks me up too when that's trying to be said. What about those? I never got into them. I don't even have a phone that's internet, access the internet or anything, so I don't use them. I've been with people that use them, those box apps. I don't like that at all.
The Equivox or whatever the hell it's called.
But,
Echo
I don't.
Box.
But just
Echo
randomly repeats words and.
Oh, well, I think what you're talking about is the Ovilus. The Echovox, I can't remember it. It's kind of like the Ovilus. It takes sensor readings and supposedly puts them into words.
Okay.
I mean, I've never used one either. But then I'm not a huge fan of cell phones on an investigation to begin with, because they cause more problems than they help.
Yes, they do. Makes equipment go off and all of other things. People don't realize it.
Yeah, they think there's little magical telephone fairies that make their deal work. They don't understand the science behind it.
No, they don't. People just think, they can just go out and do it. Well, it's television. We've discussed that too. That's why the shows here are so great, because, everybody does it the right way, and we'll discuss the do's and the don'ts, and, teach people and let that information get out there, because it's not what you see on the television shows.
I would concur.
What about the other one? What the hell is it? The
Ovilus?
Yeah.
Well, we've had some interesting results at the Ovilus. we were with Tommy Golden at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, and he had one that he had taken every reference, he'd had it modified, so the vocabulary that it used had no reference to measurement, it had no reference to anything paranormal, ghost, spirit, nothing.
Right.
And no bad words. No cuss words were left in the vocabulary. Well,
Right.
they got to doing a demonstration, and I think I still got actually the recording from the show somewhere around here. And Tommy said, well, who are all those people? And he was sitting at the table with Kim and actually looked at the group of us that were on the other side of the table filming all this. And he said, well, who are those people over there? And the box answered back, paranormal retards.
Oh my God!
And of course,
Get
Kim
out.
and Tommy look at each other, and he said, well, what did you say? And about 2 seconds later, he said, paranormal retards. Of course, it's all in a computerized voice, so.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, they can manipulate almost anything they want to if they've got enough energy and enough want to.
Now, what do you make from, sometimes it happens and sometimes it don't. You're using the ghost box and it just stops the scan.
Yep. I mean, people need to know their equipment so they know when something out of the ordinary is happening.
Right.
But also, don't expect something to happen every time. That's the biggest, because of television, that's the other biggest misconception. And just because you paid a lot of money to get into a place doesn't mean you're going to get a lot of evidence. That doesn't mean anything.
And just because you have an abandoned, spooky little building in your neighborhood doesn't make a paranormal activity going on either.
Right.
That I've run across that. Oh, look at that building, it's abandoned. Look how destroyed. Yeah, it's an old, untaken care of abandoned building, falling apart. Oh, I think it's haunted. Look how. Yeah, okay. You go there, have fun. It's just the beliefs that people have are fascinating, and when you think you've heard it all, there's always somebody to come around and make you go, oh, wow.
Yeah, just log into Facebook and you'll hear something new.
Yeah, right? Uh-huh. Well, we are out of time. The hour is up. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight, and I have an office now. I'm still running the special to get an in-person reading at the office. I'm there by appointment only. So if you purchase a half-hour reading for $50, it will get turned into an hour reading. And we'll be able to do it face-to-face. If you're in my area, or the half-hour area, that's where the office is at now. And I'm going to run that special through the month of July, because I know, it's big vacation time for people. Going away. A lot of people were away last week for the 4th. Other people are waiting because they don't want to be away with the crowd. So I'm going to run that through the month of July. So you can purchase the reading from my website. Let me know that you heard about the special on the show, and that you're in the area and you want to. If the office will set up a time convenient for both of us, and the half-hour reading will end up being an hour. With that, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Good night.